Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel, and we are carrying on back at Autoshack with the Caddy 20 valve turbo AirRide show car. In the previous episode, you saw we got the rear AirRide on, we got rid of the leaf springs and put the TA Technic 4-link system on it, and it's looking perfect, but the bag's front air suspension hadn't arrived yet. But today it's just turned up so we can get the front on air as well. Also, you saw in the previous episode we had some problems with tyre sizes. Hopefully today our tyre guy can come down, swap the tyres around like we spoke about before, because at the moment these are both front wheels on this side. We can't fit the 7J rears with the 205 tyres, so we're going to drop them down to 195s on the back. Hopefully they'll tuck in nicely. So let's jump straight in and unwrap some boxes. And the other things we've got to aid our geometry when we're fully down on air at the front is we've got these bottom ball joint extenders. So you saw on the car, when I was mocking it up without any springs in on the front to get the chassis notch done, the bottom arms, when they're normally like this, when it is lowered, the bottom arms were right up. And what that tends to do is pull the wheel in, because the bottom ball joint goes in the arc. Usually we're in this kind of area, so it doesn't really change that much. But as you get to extremes, the bottom of the wheel will start to tuck in. So these bolt to the bottom arms, and then the ball joint would normally be here, but this extends it up that much. So this goes into the hub, and then it puts the arms at a little bit better angle. The same problem with the track rod ends. As they go up and up and up and arc in, which then on these, because they're rear, makes both sides toe out. So in normal circumstances, you can't flip the track rod ends from the top to the bottom because they are tapered. And with these rose jointed ends, if you drill them out to this size, it means you can flip the track rods. So now they're that much lower because they're on the bottom of the arm. This will make a bit more sense when we get it on and show it side by side, but these are just little things that people have come up with over the years to try and retain some geometry with the extreme drop. Ta-da! And here is our front package from Only Charge Dubs again. It's been like a super early Christmas getting all the packages for this thing. You saw in the rear episode how many boxes I had for that. So this should be the last bits we need, just the front legs. Now the rear kit was from TA Technic for all the rear leaf replacement. But this is all from bags. We used these before on that transporter, and that do really nice kits. Double bellow bags and height adjustment for the base height as well. Come with all new top mounts, all adjustable camber. Nice bit of kit. No sweets in this one. So these are ready to bolt straight on. Let's get them fitted. Here you can see what we put on the rears. So we had the leaf spring delete conversion. So these plates went on where the leaf springs used to go at the front. It's completely bolt on, really well thought out. They just go on the original mounts of the leaf springs. And then that holds the 4 link arms, both sides, and then where the U-bolts used to go over incorporates the plates for the bags. Now if you remember from the last episode, we did have to cut the mounting points off and move them in slightly because the bags, both of them, were out like that. So I moved the bottom points in and in. Now you can see the bags fit perfectly straight, and you've got the Watts linkage in the middle, and that just controls where the beam sits left and right. But if you had a normal panhard bar that went from here to the corner, as there's so much travel, it tends to pull the beam as it goes up and down. Whereas with a full Watts linkage, that goes straight up and down. All new shocks as well. So let's move on to the front, because we've got lots of trick stuff for this. And we'll see if my chassis notches are still enough. They should be, but this will know for sure when we get the AirRide on. Let's get these Porsches back off. You can see how bulgy these tyres are. That's why we need to slim these down, either in or drop a profile, see how we go. We can leave the adapters on for now, we don't need to take them off. Just need to remove these grotty things. Couple of bolts, pop the air in. And in here you can see what I was talking about, the track rod ends are at the top. So as this goes up and up and up and up, eventually these all lock out. So if you flip them and put them to the bottom, then that already makes the angle more favourable to being lowered. But as these are a taper, that's why you have to drill through it. You can't just flip them over because the taper won't work. And off, and out. And there's the two side by side. As you can see, exactly the same design, just bolt straight on. But instead of having a spring, they've just got air bellows. So they're already assembled with the new top mounts. So these can go straight on. and look a lot cooler in the bay. All right, let's see how low she'll go. Right, I think we are bottomed out there, which isn't as low as we had it with the coilovers. So maybe we need to drop this down a little bit more. So on these, you can loosen the lock nut there and actually wind the bodies down into the hub to give you a start line, and then that winds it into this hole at the bottom. So to get us where we want to go, nearly to the bottom. If we go flat with the bottom, that'll be a good start. Flush with the bottom there now. We can go a little bit more if needed. Let's jack it up again. Yeah, that's better. So we're all the way aired out and we can still spin it. Now, if we sit level, you can see the angle of the bottom arm, less than ideal. And as it travels up, obviously it's in an arc, so this is going to be moving further in, pulling the bottom of the wheel in, which is what we don't want. So we've got these extenders to go in here, which will bring the arm down a bit. And on the back, it's hard to tell, but you can see they are locked out at a similar position. But the good news is, my chassis notch is still all clear. And here are our ball joint extenders. So you can see we've got our 3 bolts, they go on there. But it just makes it that much more higher where the stub is. And these help a lot, so a cool little design. So these still are original arms, so they've still got rivets in, so we'll grind them out, take this ball joint out, and then we'll nut and bolt the new ones on. So if we get a bit of science, if we go across here, bolt to level, centre there is 10 centimetres, bolt to there is 28.5 centimetres. With a bit of editing magic, we know this is 90, we can work this out to be ping, this out to be ping. So that is our angle at the moment. Let's see how it changes with the ball joint extenders in. So with that popped off, you can see if they're flipped, it fits a lot straighter already. And this angle will be less because it's so much lower, but because these are tapered, you can't swap it over. So that's what our rose joints are for. Right, let's pop this out and then get this joint off. Opa, and it's out. As you can probably hear, I am suffering today. I got a terrible head cold, but I'll power on for you guys. Grind these rivets off, then the new one will go in its place, much taller. Had to get the big dog out. We are free. And our new one goes in like that. Much easier. And voila, all on. So just bolted on with some M8s. The original ones were on with proper rivets, like a steam engine. But these are on. Don't worry about all the rusty arms. These are all going to be sent off to powder coating. We're only in the mock-up stages at the minute. So we'll get these in, check they all fit, and see what improvements that makes. And all on. Check that out. That looked cool, even if it doesn't do anything. But luckily it does. So you can see now resting, the arm's actually pointing downwards. So at ride height, that'll be flat, which is optimum. Let's see if we can see what the angle is. Lift it up. All right, that's all the way up. And you can see that is a much better angle. So if we get our level again, see to the top of there now is only 6 centimetres. So at full drop, we've gone from 20 degrees down to 11 degrees, which you can see is much better. So now let's make our track rod end a bit happier. And there it is, all on and looking pretty. So now we've moved the track rod end point down 40mm, and we've moved the bottom arm down 40mm, so that's just going to make the geometry a lot nicer when it is lowered down. That'll cut out the bump steer, and then we've still got all our adjustment for tracking. So that'll cut out bump steer, and that should react a lot better. And looks a lot cooler as well. And we've got this side ball joint extender on as well, so that matches the other side. When I went to do the track rod end, we ran into a problem. This has got a really early style rack, so this side isn't adjustable. This track rod end is part of the track rod. As you saw on this side, it's a bolt-on part and you screw it in and out. Whereas what they've done on the early cars is this side is fixed, so you put this wheel straight and then you tow in and out this wheel and then just take the steering wheel off and put it back where you put it. On modern cars, you put the steering wheel dead straight and then you adjust each wheel individually out to exactly where you need it. On the older stuff like this, you put this wheel straight, adjust the tracking this side to get it to line up with this one so they're both matching, and then just take the wheel off and put it on straight wherever that lands. Luckily, the racks are the same, so if we just order a new track rod, a right-hand one, we can put that on the left and that'll solve our problem, and then we'll have both sides adjustable, and we can put our rose joints on this side as well. So it's strange that this is a 91, I think, and it's got such an early rack setup. And Motor Parts Direct coming in hot with a pair of track rods. So we've got two driver side ones, so we've got two with threaded ends. So we'll put the right hand one on that one, and then we'll replace this one just so it's all new and tight. Gotcha. They just have a little locking nut there on the rack. You loosen that, off it comes. One drumstick. So you see they're just the same, just this one has the threaded end, so we can screw on our ball joints. And all converted to right-hand track rods. I'll slip the old boot on just to keep them clean, but we will be putting new ones of these in the final fit. Just keep all the dust out of the rack while we're messing around. And another one on, spaced out 40mm. That's spaced out 40mm. It's actually going to put them at a lot better angles and make it drive a lot better when it is lower than standard. Another bit ticked off. And put the new one on the other side ready as well. So a little change of plan on the tyres. We've just spoken to our tyre guru, Graham, at Tyre Assist, and he said it's the problem with these new tyres, they have a really thick curbing band, which is why they stick out so far. So even if we try and stretch them on the rear, it's still going to stick out like that and bulge. So he's got some Nankang NS2s down, which are known for having a lot flatter sidewall. So he's on his way now, and we're going to try them on. The top dog has arrived. Graham has bought us a selection of tyres. We've got some 195 45s, a 185 45, and a 205 50. So we're going to have a swap around and see what fits best. So we went with the 185 45 on the front, a bit thinner, but it just hasn't got that bulge sticking out. So we're not stretched, we're just missing that big bulge now. Let's try these on. And on, and they fit in there spot on. They could not have better fitment. Tucked in there nicely, so we've got the 185 45s there, 195 45s there. So let's get the others on and all balanced up. Tyre Assist. Okay, got all four back on now. Let's see how low we can go. These do sit in a lot better on the tyres. I haven't got that massive bulge that was on there before. So the tyres are now as wide as what the wheels are. They're not stretched at all. We're not really into that. So let's let it down. We're off the ramps and we're clear. So I've had to put it on these little ramps, otherwise the ramp arms don't come out. But that is how we're going to be sitting. They fit in there really nice, happy with that. And the rears, that is more like it. And the sump, even though we're on the ramps, is pretty close. So I reckon at full drop, the sump's going to be in the floor. But we have got the shallow sump to go on, which is going to help a lot with that. We have got the Porsche wheels to fit. Right, I made a few little tweaks and adjustments with the wheel arches and got the tracking lined up, kind of eyeballed it. So let's see how low this can go on the floor. This is ridiculously low now. It's hard to put it in perspective on the camera. Because of the shape of older cars, they don't have really deep sills. They kind of go underneath, so you can't actually see how low it is. But if you look at where I am here, the bumper is there on my shin. This front panel is at my knee. The roof is now at chest height. The top of the bonnet, I can see over it even when it's up. So we are a long, long way down. So if you look at the door handles are here. But I think we've got it sitting perfect. The splitter is just off the floor. I don't know if you can see under there. But the sump, there's just a millimetre between the sump and the floor, but we have got a shallow sump to go on this. And on the back, they just look perfect. And all we've done is change the tyres. So it's gone from hitting that wheel arch, not fitting in at all, to now being able to suck right up there just from a tyre change. So that's how bulgy those other tyres were. Let's have a look underneath and see if we can see the watch linkage working as we go up and down. See how much travel we've got. Hoping I don't crush the GoPro. So we haven't got a lot of travel. But you can see the watch linkage rotating there and keeping it all in the centre. Because if we look at the wheel as it goes down, it shouldn't move in and out at all. Nice. So let's see if we can do the same at the front. With our raised ball joints and our flip track rod, that should really improve the bump steer. Remember what I was saying, if the arms are right up, that starts to pull the track rods in. So when it goes down, that will really tow out because we've got our track rods at the back. And the same with the bottom arms. As the bottom ball joint goes up and up and up, it actually pulls it in, which if you don't use the razors, that can pull the bottom of the wheel in as it lowers down. So hopefully now with the arms in their normal position, when they're going up and down, they're not going to be moving in and out too much. So let's lower this down and see how the bump steer does, whether it does still tow in as it goes down. Let's have a look. Well, I think really that is as perfect as you're going to get it. It cambers down a bit as it goes in. As for the toe in and toe out, I can't really see it moving much at all. You can always spot an AirRide car at a show that hasn't got flip track rods because when it's on full droop, both front wheels point right in. But ours are looking pretty good. That one and that one. So I'm happy with that. I was just having a little look online and I've actually found the factory dimensions for these caddies. I found the height from the top of the roof to the floor on a factory wheel, factory suspension caddy, because it is quite deceiving how low we have actually got this thing. So it's showing us 1430 millimeters from the highest point of the roof to the floor. So if we put it up to that height, put it down to this height and see how much lower we actually are to standard. So this is probably going to be our drive height. Oh, and we're way down. We are at about 132 there. At factory ride height, we need to go up some more. So, believe it or not, this is factory ride height for a caddy. As you can see, we are not even on the floor at the moment. I've got a spare wheel over there, so we can get the factory wheel size in there as well. So, this is what it would look like as factory, which probably is about right. You've got a fist between the wheel and the wheel arch. But this looks pretty funny considering how low we've had it. But yeah, I'd say knee height for the bumper. Can't see over the bonnet. So this is the caddy sitting at the height that it came out of the factory at. Which doesn't look out of place. It just looks a bit funny because we've got our wheels tucked right up in the arch. But when you put the standard wheel on, that is about right. Floor to arch lip is 68.5 centimeters. So this is ride height. Let's see us at our lowest. We are down to 50 and we're at 68.5, which is now up here. So sitting here now, this is lowered 185 millimeters from factory. And with that, we have accomplished what we set out to do. We've got these Porsche wheels tucked right up in the arch, and all it took was just a different size of tyre. And sometimes it can seem like we're just trying for that little bit of extra low, and then look back and it's not really all that low, or is it? But just comparing it to the factory ride heights when it was up here, just shows how much work we've done with the chassis notches, with the ball joint razors, with the flip track rods, and all the work we've done on the beam on the rear. Just goes to show how much work there is involved to get it this low. So with the mock-up stages, we have kind of got an idea for the install, but that's not really going to change anything to what we've got to do next. So now I am super happy with how it's sitting. The mock-up stages of the suspension is pretty much complete. I haven't started on the AirRide install yet. I think what I'm going to do next is start on the wiring inside, because we've got loads of wiring work. Get that underway, and I can tie that in with the AirRide loom, and also work out where we're going to put the tank, the pumps, and the manifold, because that all needs to tie in with my wiring. So I think I'm going to wrap this episode up here. As always, thank you so much for following this build. You guys seem to be really enjoying the Caddy as much as I am. I'll put the playlist for this all in the description. So if you're only just catching this for the front bags, so you can go all the way back to episode 1, get right up to date, ready for the next episode, which I think is going to be a wiring one. So make sure you give this video a like. Be sure to tune in next time. But until then, make sure you have fun.